Okay, there we go. Should hopefully be good. Looks like it is. Okay, it is, yeah. I had a thing and it looked like it was trying to translate my thing to Spanish, but anyway, we're all good, and now I need to remember what I was doing before I ended. Because the thing was back here. Yeah, the thing that I grabbed was there. What are you? We are many who have fallen before the wicked Screech. It nests in the maw of evil, past the great gate. Seek strength in numbers, or you too shall fall. Good to know. Good to know. Didn't really learn much from that. And going down there doesn't really get me anything. And going up here, does this just take me back to where I came from? It does, yeah, okay. So don't want to go that way. I do want to figure out how you get up there, though. But I'm guessing I can't do that yet. And same with that. I'm guessing I can't do anything with that yet. Yeah, there's got to be something to do with these, my controller's drifting. Stop. There we go. Okay, what was I saying again? I was saying something. And I've already completely forgotten. Can I interact with this one? No. Okay, well, I'll press all these buttons. Let's have all of them pressed at the same time. Okay, now I can talk to you. Okay. The great gate, keep the Screech locked away in ancient times. If you seek the lair of evil, then the seal must be broken. There are still some in these caves who retain the will to fight. A rune to guide your way lies hidden amongst my old bones. Find the others. Together you may prevail. Noted. Ooh, I'll take that. And that unlocks. Down there. Or just this thing in general. I can't actually really get up it. Oh. Never mind, I can. Well, I want to go up here then. Oh god. It was the wrong thing. Yeah, I meant to do that. There we go. Come on. Get it. Only a few more. It only needs to get in there a few more times. All we gotta do. And one more. Yeah, there we go. And grab the last one. There we go. Now we can get up here and break that. And you're safe, sir. Appreciate the help, Bill. I'm going to fight the Screech again. If you're with me, join me over by the gate. I am with you. I just need to... Actually, what's up there? I don't think I've been there yet. I have to give it an exploration. But what is over here? There's gotta be some sort of secret. Oh, because this is a new area. That's why. Well, I'll use these things to light up another one of these. There we go. Just 2, 4, yeah, like 6 more left. And that, so that means I need to find around 60 of the Weaveling things. I guess I might as well unlock this. Spend some of my thing that I got. Well, there's another one done. Break them. Now this takes me... up to here, which I think I've been before. So I'm gonna head back down now. Yeah, I remember I've seen that bunny before. God damn it, I've done it to myself. I can't get back down. Oh, I guess I can check that thing over to the left here. Because I don't think I have seen that before. No, gotta go down. Yeah, there's a thing down here. Yeah, there's a weaverling. And I can now afford this. We do that. We do this. And now we can break it and get the weaverling. There we go. Easy peasy. What was that? Just fruit. Okay. Now how do we get up into that thing? I think we've got to go from above. Oh, which would be from here. We go up here. And quickly grab all that. Now, we didn't anticipate it raining this much down here. Let's spread someplace drier next. Someplace in the sun where we can feel the salty breeze and hear the gullies cry. Remember, if you do this for us, we will reward you. With what is my question? So how do I get that one over there? I'm guessing, again, I need to be able to interact with the purple things a bit better. Because I can't interact with the purple things yet. Now, what am I doing here? Do I maybe want to do that? No, I don't. Damn it. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But, what's in here? Money! Oh, yes. Fruit! And a weaverling. Can't complain with that. And now we ride this down. I can go in here. But I don't know what to do yet. There's nothing in here that I can actually do. That thing doesn't even have a color. I don't know. I'll come back to it. There's gotta be something there I can do or have to do. I don't know. Either way, I guess I should probably focus on what I was meant to be doing, which is the thing here. God, you can get so sidetracked in this game. Now, we'll go this way. Can I... over to there? I think I can, yeah. I just gotta go the way I went already, I think. Like that. And then, yeah, just gotta get up there. There. Huh? Oh. Gotta go down here. That makes a lot more sense. There we go. Okay, I got everything I wanted. Now I'll get out of here. There we go. And now we have to go down here. And I'll take this little spot, which... okay, I do have to go along here anyway. Whoa. Ow. Okay, there's the thing over here I have to hit. There we go. Oh. I wasn't ready for the slugs. That's good. Please, let me get it over the other... there we go. That's all I really wanted to do, was just hit the slug thing. Ugh. Okay, hit the slug dude. As I was saying, hit the slug thing. Yeah. Okay, there we go. That's one more thing hit. Now there's 2 more. One where I go through there where I don't really get much. And the other up there. So close. It's so far. Oh! You know what? I won't complain about getting all them. I mean, I needed to get them anyway, so... Damn it. I almost got the slug and then went straight to the thing. There we go. Damn it. Okay. Now we just gotta hit this. As I was saying, now we just gotta hit this. Nah, I missed again. And hit the slug. And hit the thing. Not quite. And hit the thing. I'm really good. Or at least I'm really good at hitting that spot. Ow. Oh, yes. Suck you up. And we'll go over here. And... Yes! There we go! That's all I wanted. And we go up here as well. And can't forget the one there. There we go. Now I just gotta actually grab the thing. I didn't actually want to come over here, but I'll take it, I guess. There we go. That's where I wanted to go. And now I will be on my way. Once I actually hit the thing that I want to hit. I swear I'll get there eventually. I didn't want to hit that. I'm just making this harder for myself. I didn't want to hit it. I didn't want to hit that. Please. There we go. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. Okay, hello, sir. Thank you for saving me. This has gone on for too long. Let's fight back. I'll wait for you over at the gate. Join me there if you two wish to fight the Screech. I do, so I'll meet you over there. Let's gotta get one other person, or one other thingy. Which is over... I think it's down where I was, just to the left instead of to the right. I'm assuming. You know, you shouldn't assume. But I feel like it would maybe be the area I haven't explored. The question is it down? Or is it up? Oh, it's right there. Okay. Well, I guess I might as well check out up here. Which I can't really do. Again, I'm guessing I have to be able to interact with the plant there. Let's see thing. How do I get down to that? I mustn't figure out how to get over to that. But I'll figure it out at some point. There's one done. Actually, no, it's not even one done. Still gotta collect it afterwards. Well, there's 1 and 2 done. And now we just gotta... Yeah, there we go. Damn it, I want to get... I want to get blue. I want to get the orange, please. Can I please get the orange? I guess I'm not allowed to have orange. I'm only allowed the blue. To do that, it sends me back, and then I'm gonna... Damn it. Okay. Oh, now. Yes. There we go. Now I can actually line it up. Also, hey, Pookie. How are you going? Welcome to the stream. Why did I come back down here? Now I think I need to go right through the middle there. I just noticed there's a button. There's a button. There's a button there. I need to know what the button does. I was caught off guard. It won't happen again. I'll wait at the gates. Together we'll open the lair of evil. Agreed, sir. But there was a button. And I can't just ignore a button. So I gotta go. I gotta go doing it. I can't just leave it there and not have it and not explore it. It would be like a crime. Unless it takes way too long to try and hit the button. But hopefully it doesn't take too long to try and hit this button. Unless I've already hit it before. I'm doing okay. How about you? I'm doing pretty good. Yes! Hit the button! Definitely worth it. I don't know if it was worth it, but I'm gonna say it was. So I can feel a little bit better about spending... Actually, I guess I didn't spend that much time trying to get the button, to be fair. And I'm almost at 300 fruit, which can... No controller, go this way. Which I might buy the Witcherling. I might buy the Witcherling thing when I can. I'm being crushed by my ball. Oh no. Yeah, apart from work, haven't really been up to much today. Yeah, did you end up finishing that mission in Pokemon yesterday, Pookie? The time to face the Screech has come. Let's go. What is the Screech? I would like to figure that out. Also, how many things do I have? I need to check. 5. Not enough. No! This game's calling me fat. Because all of them stood on it and nothing happened. And then I tried standing on it. And it went horribly wrong. No, I didn't play too much. Okay, that's fair. This is how I get the thing. Yes! And now, I can grab the thingy. Aha! The ball, I think. Let me double check. It's not showing up here, so I'm assuming it's a ball. Or a bauble. It's somewhere in my inventory. Anything hidden around here? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, I guess... What have you been playing, Pookie? I guess been working on... I guess if you've been playing anything. Yeah, I'm happy that I got that thing, so now I can continue over this way. Also, I checked or you can check in the main menu. Apparently I'm 31% of the way to the game. Get in there. Okay. There we go, and and can I go down there? No, I can't. Okay, so we have to and go in here. Now these things don't change anything, do they? No. Oh, that doesn't seem good. Hey, Yoku, get rid of this crystal and we'll use our swords to make short work of that beast. Okay, I'll try. I just need to actually figure out how to get rid of it. Okay, we can hit that. Come through there. Please don't hurt me. Actually, what if I do go in here? Aha, helps me destroy some stuff, I think. And that also does interact with things there. I got all of them interacted with. Oh, I'm trying to push the rock over there, I think. Maybe. I'm assuming. Also, I see you said something before you go. I'll read it in a quick minute. Now, over here again. Not quite what I was going for. Okay, that's filled up 4 times. I just need to hit that one more time. We'll hit that thing. Yes, so they're in. They're in. Oh, so I want to get them over to their things, to their swords. I see. So don't worry about me, in other words, is what I'm getting from this. Okay, send it over here. I can't actually remember. Oh, I know what I gotta do. Never mind. I'm being the dumb. We gotta send it over this. Send it over this way. And then it gets to there. And now we gotta get this one. Over to there. Which I know what to do. All I gotta do is just. And. There we go. Now I just gotta hit this thing in the middle there. As I was saying, now I just gotta hit this thing in the middle here. And we heard him. Yes. Just spam the things. Damn it, yes! Damage has been done! I feel like laser eyes aren't good. I feel like they're not a good thing for me. Now what are we trying to do? Because there's a thingy over there. Oh, we're trying to get him out of the thing. I see. There we go, okay. Now we just gotta get you back over to their, or get them back over to their things. So this one. I feel like I should only aim for one at a time. So there's that one, okay. Now we'll get this one. And there we go. Okay, now it's just this one left. Which you gotta hit it in the right spot, like there. Not in the right spot. Okay, maybe like there. Not quite. I'll just read your thing now. I've been working on my lines for my drama show for school. Okay. Are you looking forward to when you do that, Pookie? And I guess when is that? I'm gonna go at the very edge. Not quite. And go! I swear I'll get it at some point. One of these times it'll have to go in. Oh, unless I want to use the blue thing there. Let me actually check if that's what I gotta do. That's what I gotta do. I've been doing this wrong the entire time. Okay, that's not what I gotta do. So I have gotta hit it like right at the edge. But why is this such a hard one to get? There we go. Haha. It really shouldn't have been that hard. And whoosh. It opens up again. Attack! Everybody attack! And whoa, whoa, whoa. And there we go. Okay, so only have to do one more time. Chosen 1 week. Okay, so you're looking forward to it then, Pookie? And I guess what role do you play in it? Okay, time to get these all set up again. This one usually isn't too hard. There we go. Now, this one... That isn't how you meant to get it there, but I'll take it. Now the hard one again. And there we go. Now, we just gotta land on the thingy there. A donk. There we go. Okay, now we just gotta destroy all these, or do the last bit of damage. And the Screecher will be destroyed. Once and for all. I feel like it's almost worse when there's multiple of these things. Because they like knock into each other. Anyway. I keep forgetting which one's which. There we go. Coup de grace. I don't actually know what that means. I know there's coup de grace, I think. I think that's what it normally is. So where do we want to go to now? There we go. Okay, I can get up here. Hello, sir. You've saved my clanmates and defeated the beast that threatened the god egg. As thanks, I want my part of the bargain. I shall head to the village immediately and lend my assistance to Makuma. If you wish to join me, the shortcut leads to Gorilla Woods from the B line. Should be able to get you to the village in no time. Let's go. What are you gonna say, Kickback? That got pretty disgusting. Good thing those unders pitched in, or we'd never have managed to break through the Screech's rocky hide. Now we just need to find the last chief, and the Nim can go ahead with the ceremony of healing. Let's go. I mean, you didn't really do much there, Kickback. I'm gonna be honest. It was all me and the other thingies. Now, I'm gonna quickly see what is down here. Yes. Stuff. And Weevilling. Can't complain with that. And a thingy over there. So there's stuff here, like in the middle, that I don't know how to get yet. It looks like, no, you can't do it from there because it just goes under. Yeah, I'm not sure how you get in there yet. But I'll figure it out at some point. Maybe. Hopefully. Please don't go off the edge. Yeah, I'm a bit nervous, but it'll be fun. In one play, I'm all the teachers. In the other show, I'm a trick-or-treater child. Oh, okay, so you have multiple... So you're doing multiple shows then, Pookie. Okay, now we go up. Oh, that brings us back to there. Huh. Well, there you go. Now from here, I can go over to this place. I don't know if I can get anything new, but I can now go under the rock. So that does get me somewhere new. Haha. Which this, I can quickly grab these. There we go. Okay, head back over to here. Yeah, sounds like it'll be fun, Luki. And give it all the things. There we go. Now we have the great music. My game froze. This is great. Why has it frozen? Honestly, who knows? This is a new place. This is the rainy area. Aha. And this is a new person. And my game's also frozen again. Why? Why, game? For what reason? Now I might just drop off here. Because there's this to now throw in. Yep, and there's also you to talk to. My toolbox! Excellent! Stand back and I'll get the bridge repairs done. I totally meant to bring you the toolbox. That was my plan all along. Bridge is good as new. Give it a try. Of course, this way only leads up to the Ivory Peaks. Nothing but snow and space marks up there. I mean, I can't complain. So this would take you up to like here. Huh. Interesting. Also, gotta destroy these for some fruit. Yeah, I'm just gonna follow this and see where I go. See where it takes me. Yeah, I feel like I couldn't really do a play. Just hey, Dipperloaf. Please don't be afraid. I am not responsible for this. I'm Dipperloaf, guardian of those too small to protect themselves. The tragedy struck fast. An evil creature was upon us before I could do anything. Then only darkness. When I awoke, I was maimed terribly and wearing the brand of the Godslayer. Worst of all, the little ones. I sit here now and wait forever for my lost friends, my broken trunk rotting with sorrow. I'm sure things will get better, Dipperleaf. Not even the sun finds you anymore. This grove is cursed by the evil force, only sorrow remains. I'm sure I can maybe help. Hopefully. So if I do that, okay, that gets me up to there. That doesn't spawn any snails, or at least it doesn't seem to. God damn you, game. Make me go that way, off the edge. And now we do that, and then that. I see. I gotta go back down here. Hit the thingy. Goes back up to there. Now I do this, or suck it the other way. There we go. Hit that. Explode. Now do that again. Yeah, as I was saying, I don't think I'd really be able to do a play. One, because I don't really get into drama that much. But two, because I feel like I'm too forgetful, and I would not know my lines, even if I practiced. No! Damn it. Okay, there we go. This time we got the weevil. And up we go. Donk. And up we go. There we go. Now, there's actually two ways I can go. I'm gonna go left. Because it unlocks more of the area, so I can actually see. Now, I think I do want to definitely continue going left, because this will go to a dead end, and I also get to explore the big thing up there. Ooh, there's also a mailbox. And a home. Hello, sir. Give me a quick second. I'm gonna quickly grab the fruits here that I got from your mailbox. But how are you going? Those wicked suitlings have gone into hiding. They work hard in the mines and drag home all sorts of filth. It's time for their bath, but they saw it coming and hid from me. Won't you help me find my suitlings? There are 6 suitlings hiding upstairs. I'll keep the tub warm while you look for them. Help me out and I'll have a nice reward for you. I can do that. Now, who are you? Hey, Beetle. Are you here for the pilgrimage? We're just about to set out. We're gonna climb the Ivory Peaks and visit the Space Monk Temple. I'm Tilo. I'm overdressed. The overdressed one is Jama, who's a bit overly concerned about the cold up there. The big quiet one is Ohm. Don't worry though. Ohm is very friendly. Anyways, I'll be off in a bit. Join in if you want. We'll be on the pilgrim's path marked by the red ribbons. We haven't got any extra gear, but if you talk to Tungska, the lighthouse keeper, I'm sure something can be arranged for you. If that's at the top of the thing, I'm going up there anyway, so that'll work out for me. But I need to find 6 things up here. But first, never mind, I can't jump off there. Okay. Oh my god, they're running. Of course they're running. Well, I guess I can at least try and hit that one somehow. I just gotta hit it with enough force. Which I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet. That's how. That's how I'm gonna do it. Okay, there we go. Now we just gotta collect these things, which will open the door. Don't think I've been up there yet. And... damn it. No! No! That's a lot of fruit. I mean, I'm not going to complain. It's just extra stuff for me. And the edge, there we go. Okay, I got most of the fruit now. So how do I hit that scarab? Oh, there we go. And it was perfect, because it's the last... Actually, no. I still gotta get the other thing. I'm not trying to hit that. I'm more just trying to go over to the other side. There we go. Okay. Actually, what if I go up here? Never mind, I can't. It's not at the moment. Yeah, so what if I go like that, and then that? So that's another one of those things. Noted. There we go. Okay, is that enough? Yes, now I just gotta grab it. Which I thought was gonna be the hard part, but apparently not. Wait, no, I need this stuff. I need the bananas. I don't need the bananas, I want the bananas. Okay, there we go. Now we get up to here. Can I break these? I'm assuming I can. I think I can, yeah. Yeah, I can, okay. Good to know. I'm gonna have to also get some slugs. Because of those things. But there's also one in this thing up here, I think. It seems like there's one in there. Which there was. Haha. Okay, now... suck it up. There we go. There's one. And... damn it. Missed it. Okay. Down. Not quite. Again, not quite. There we go. Got it. Now, we only need one more. Or the thing there to actually get out. Damn it. I need a slug. Please, give slug. Ow. Okay. Ow. Again. Yeah, do you have any friends that you're doing the play with, Pookie? Okay, we send this up. Now. Yes! Now I just gotta hit the very edge. Like that. There we go. And that will get me up to where I want to be. There we go. Now there's two sides I gotta jump off. Oh, I almost went off. Boone sent me here to watch the skies. We'll be launching our spaceship soon. The low wind force and blue skies indicated perfect launch conditions. I just hope they manage to sort out the engine trouble before the launch window closes. Okay, well there's two things I want to quickly do. One, get the Weevilling on this side. There we go. Oh, I guess send back up. And two is come down here. I wanted to grab that Weevilling, but I most importantly wanted to grab this. What is this? You got the Suitling leash. The old leash identifies you as a friend of the Suitlings. Okay, so I'll have to go up there. I get my own Suitling. That's cool. I want to check that out. I'll sneakily go back up here to grab the thing there that I missed. The Weevilling. Now where am I trying to go? Right, okay, I'm going the right way. We do that. That sends us up there. Now I actually want to quickly get out of here real quick. Damn it. Yes, suck it up. Now, I want to get out of here. It's too late, isn't it? It is. Yeah, see, I saw the thingy there. I'm guessing there's something in there. Hopefully it's worth it. Not. Very disappointing. Okay. God damn it. I gotta do it again. And of course the thing was there, so I couldn't do it. Okay. I swear that was basically it. Okay. And now I went too far. There we go. Okay, that's there we go. That's what I wanted. Oops, didn't mean to hit that. Now, time for me to get out of here. Or get back up. Sorry. And there we go. Now, get back over this side. Okay. There we go. Another Weevilling. How many does that make it? Okay, now I got 10. Now I can unlock another one of the things. And I think I got all of your Suitlings. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, there they are. Oh, so they're actually normally like golden, like a brownish yellow color. Well, there you go. Can I interact with you? Yes. Look at these fluffy and adorable Suitlings. How could I ever stay mad at them? I can tell you, I can tell that you respect the suitlings, so as a thanks for your help, I want you to have my old suitling leash. Take it with you to the suitling habitat, in Frostspine Forest. With the leash in hand, the suitlings will guide you on your journey up the Ivory Peaks. At least there would, have been, but you've already helped yourself to it, haven't you? So consider that your reward. Well, I didn't know it was yours. But thank you. Now, I can't grab those things yet. There's a lot of things that are purple, that being able to use those purple things unlocks, it seems. Anyway. There's a lot of that area done. So I guess let's now head over this way. Okay. Another mailbox. I'm such a good postman. What's this? Wanting obtainium chute ahead. Okay. I should look out for that. Should I have done that? Maybe. Oh, so that's maybe gonna help me go up. Hey, what's going on down there? Why is no one answering my calls? The suitlings must be slacking again. And the floating obtainium is spilling out into the air. I don't know who's down there, but you're gonna have to get the hatches. Yeah, the hatches shut pronto. Everyone will get their hams warm if we miss another shipment. So hurry up. Okay. Well, I will spend that real quick. Open that up. I can go over this way. Get another weeveling. There we go. Okay, so I'm guessing I want to go here. And I can unlock something here. Damn it. Okay, so I want to get in that spot. Yes. There we go. Okay. Now we open that up. And might as well open the other one up as well. And there we go. So we'll go this way as well. Oops. Oh, it just fast away getting back. Okay. Not necessarily fast, just a different way. I think I know what I need to do. I need to get up here again. Do this thing. Do that. No. Please. Please let me do it. Yeah, I can. Okay. There we go. God damn it, of course I fell. There we go. I feel like I'm actually collecting a decent amount of weaving. I mean, I'm not even halfway, but I feel like I've gotten a decent amount. I swear I'll get it. I swear I'll get this at some point. There we go. Okay, over to here. And go up there. Okay, so we're trying to grab them and then explode these. Noted. Over to here. Okay, there we go. Now, wrong way. How did I... You know, I'm not gonna ask questions. How am I not able to get into that little gap now? Like, I really can't get in the little gap. Right there. There we go. That one I did. And this one. There we go. Wait, I want to go through there yet. Because there's still some things I can grab here. Nope. Damn it. I just want to get these things lit up. Damn it. Well, there's one scarab done. There we go. Now I just gotta do this other one. There we go. Yeah, how do you get the scarab things to turn on? I'm guessing I need to maybe do it again. There we go. There we go. Oh. I get how these work now. You have to interact with the things near them. So I don't know if I've gotten all the scarabs. Hopefully there's a thing that shows you all of them. Because I don't want to have to come back through and check every single puzzle. But at least I know from now on. So I can try and keep somewhat of a track. And there we go. Still not opened yet though. And there we go. There's two. And that slug is definitely in the way. Oh, okay. I stand corrected. Apparently the slug isn't in the way. But... go through. And go through. There we go. Okay, I'm somehow sneaking past it. I really don't know how. Oh god. Damn it. I bamboozled myself. You know, suck it up. There we go. Okay, there we go. Is it done yet? I'm gonna guess that it's done. So I'm gonna make my way over to here, and up again. Okay. So I'm gonna go. Yes. I'm a genius. Okay, so we're gonna turn these ones off. There we go, they're closing the chutes. And then from there, we can come down to here. Turn this one on. I didn't notice that I can also turn one on in there. I didn't notice that was a thing. So let me quickly do that. Yeah, I didn't notice this was a new area. So let me make them up. Now, both of those things are on. And closed. So now I should be able to do that. And talk to the person on here. Good. Both hatches are closed again. Go ahead and send some obtainium up here. Just be sure to stand back or you'll be knocked right up along with them. Oh, well, I want to be knocked up there with them. So... wake up. Up we go! This stuff's got to be hot. I mean, it's orange and orange/red. Hello, sir. Hey, thanks for the help, Beetle. This place is just a mess since our foreman, Jamja left on a spiritual journey. With the Obtainium coming through, we'll be able to make the Space Monk's deadline after all. Here's something for your trouble. Oh, thank you. Also, can't grab that stuff, but... Okay, I'm gonna need the things for that. Noted. I'm gonna need the purple thing for that, I'm pretty sure. Which I can't do at the moment. Won't. Yeah, can't do it. At least I don't think I can. Now, what happens if I do go down there? That just connects back to there. Okay. But now we can go on that journey with the people, because I'm pretty sure this is on the right path to meet up with them. I mean, they said to follow the orange things, or the red flag, sorry. Did I do that wrong? I feel like I might have. There we go. That's a bit better. Now I can push that off. Oh, so that lets me pass. There's also that thing there. Was I meant... Oh yeah, I was meant to block that off so I can get across to here. Okay. Which, another mailbox. Let's go. I can't hold it. Let me quickly do this, and then now talk to Snowman. There's a Surtling habitat in the cave ahead. The Surtlings in there are quite feral. They don't let anyone but Tungska, the lighthouse keeper, get near. Tungska may look frail, but back in the day, that old rat climbed to the top of the Ivory Peaks using only a Surtling and a piece of string. Well, I happen to have that piece of string. So, I think I should hopefully be good. Now, what is this up here? These are the people adventuring. Ah. Where do you think you're going? You need some way to climb if you're coming with us. Maybe Tungsta, the lighthouse keeper, can give you a hand. Give you a hand with that. Oh, if Tungsta's the rat dude, not much else I can really do. Okay. Can I go down? Actually, I guess I might as well go in here, shouldn't I? We push this through, and we're in. Hello, thingy. We got one. You got a Surtling on a leash. Hold left trigger, right trigger. While flying near carnivorous plants to grapple, release. Oh, so that's what these are for. Can I still do it? No, I don't want to go up here. Please. Yeah, I want to get to those pots. I think there's also something behind that wall. This is something I'm going to have to get used to. There we go. You telling me there's nothing behind here? Surely if I hit the wall properly, I'll get something. Nah, there's nothing behind there. I think it's just a glow for some reason. There we go, grab that. Damn it. At least I figured out how to use these now. There we go. Thank you for the help, Surtlings. I think I might quickly head down the mountain, because I have two reasons. One, because I now have that thing. But the main reason is too because I need to spend my fruit on something. And I know there's a few spots down the hill that I can spend it on. Also, there's the stuff over here that I can now grab. Wahoo! I thought I was able to grab that. I thought I did. So best way down. Actually, I might as well go straight through here because I haven't done that yet. And there's a thingy over here, a mailbox. How did I never come along here like this? Alright, there's that. And I can use at least 80 of my things there. We can talk to a thingy here. Oh, did they just give me a suitling? No, I can talk to them. Okay. A package? Just throw it up here. Thanks, Postmaster. It's a bit overdue, but I don't mind. Here's something for your trouble. Money. Thank you. Okay, now let's grab this. More money. And you got the Skavdar, the rainbow creature lays eggs that appear in bubbles. Bring them good fortune to those who pop them. Right, I might as well also head down and explore. No, that's the way I've been. Yeah, that's the post office area I want to get to. Because I just want to give the person some baubles. So, let's head over this way. Ooh, yeah, let's put the things in there. There we go. How many of the posts or mailboxes have I done now? I feel like I've done a few. Also, I can activate one of these now. There we go. Almost halfway. Which actually, how many witchlings do I have now? 3. Okay. I need another 7 before I can light another one of the things up. Good to see you, Yoku. I haven't seen Sal in many years. It must have been hard to find the secret location of the Unders. I'm not surprised Boone hasn't come down. The space monks are a special kind of weird. To climb up the Ivory Peaks will be hard, but it will be even harder to convince Boone to put their project on hold to help Makuma. Oh, so was I going in the right direction? Sort of. Actually, yeah, I was, I think. I don't know. Anyway. Here's the second piece of that now. Excellent. Another chunk collected. Next piece lies near Crater Lake, up the snowy slopes of Ivory Peaks. Okay, well that I will work on. I can talk to you now. This is really bad. Judging by Makuma's injuries, it's very clear to me. This is indeed the work of the Godslayer. The brand proves it has drained a large portion of Makuma's essence. Stand back, Yoku. I shall invoke the ancient powers of the Unders to try and remove the brand. Nothing. It sounded like you just farted, I'm gonna be honest. There's no use. The darkness at work here is too potent. You must gather the other chieftains. With them present, we might be able to save Makuma. Okay. That I can do. But there is the thingies that I want to collect. I want to not collect, sorry, give to the person down here. Hello person, I have a few baubles. Let's see if we can do something about that bull, shall we? A creep bauble. Not bad at all. Black orchard bauble. We can make this work, trust me. The ivory look you've got now, while classic, is much too basic. Don't forget to bring me any sparkly baubles you come across. Wait, then what was... where is it? Now what's this? Game. Now you can see all the crystal, deep wicklings on the map. Oh. I suppose one... Oh yeah, that's that thing. But there was something else I got. Maybe there wasn't. Oh, I can also come down here and grab this now as well. There we go. I might go with green. Go with... I like the green one more. Please put the green one on. Oh, you gotta wash it. I see. What if I wash it and then put this one straight on? Oh, so you can sort of mix them. I see. Well, I like this one. So, grab that. And, now. I think the area the thing wants me to go is somewhere in the desert here. Right, I just want to head over there to see some of the weevilings. How do we get up there? Yeah, it's over here, okay. Okay, we got up there a little bit. Okay, so I need to go... Ooh. The view up here is amazing! Did you know the entrance to Murray Hill lies just across the waterfall? Just below it is the old road to the caves, home of the Unders. They're not as close to us... No, they're not close to us as they seem from up here, though. Yes. Anyway, I gotta head all the way to the thing over here. Game's frozen. Or loading. Makes me more loading. Okay, now that I'm here, I gotta quickly just grab a few thingies real quick. I need just a few pieces. That's all I need. Now I need to get over there. There we go. Okay. Up here, and hello. I would now like to purchase thing. Hey Beetle, good fortunes come to those who hunt wickerlings. And I just happen to have this thing that could help someone someone trying to find every wickerling in Murray Hill. Do you want to buy the wickerling tracker for 300 fruit? Yes. Pleasure doing business. Enjoy the hunt. And no refunds, okay? It's just saying no, I guess, because they wouldn't want you grabbing all the things and then getting a refund. I see where he's coming from. Now, I'm assuming this doesn't go over to the thing. Let's see. Yeah, drop me off here, the thingy. First things first, drop down here. Damn it. Oh yes, I can grab these. And there's one. Yep, there's one. There we go, got it. Ooh, a lot of fruit. Oh, I'll take it. Okay, next wickling over this way. Yeah, seems like I feel like I've gotten most things for maneuvering around. At least for the most part. I feel like I have. There's one right here. Where? Is it to do with this dude or something? No, it's saying it's there. Listen, I'll give you a fruit. Just stop hanging around before you draw attention to my hiding place. I see how it is you're putting a squeeze on me, aren't you? Oh yeah, another fruit. No, give me the thing. Even more, you greedy beetle bum. No, I ain't giving you another fruit. Leave me alone. It ain't happening. Nope. No way. Fine, take this wickling. It's the last thing I've got on me. See that in my hiding place. Okay, that's what I'll take. That's all I wanted. Okay, next. Okay, there's a few up there as well. Go through here. Up here. Oh. Actually, are there any down here? There are. Okay, let's go down this way, actually. No, that's the way back up. I gotta go through here. And then... Well, I think I can not do something there and accidentally fall down here. What is that? I don't know what those things are. Now, anything special here? I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go down. Fruit galore. Yes. Can I go deeper? Okay, I've hit the bottom. What am I doing? Oh god! What have I done? This is fine, right? Okay, I guess I should probably actually head back up. Okay, well, how far over to the side can we go? Okay, not too far. Okay, now I gotta head all the way back up. Damn it. Okay, but there is a weeveling there, and I can also go down from here as well now. Aha! Okay. Okay, we're all good. Alright, I was thinking 100 fruit for that. Which shouldn't be too hard. Because yeah, I can just do this, I guess. There's 97, 98, 99, and if I just go in this little area over here, that should be 100. Yep. And there we go. Oh, how many things do I have? 6. Okay. A few more. But I'm almost there. Now we head up real quick, and let's unlock this real quick. Okay. There we go, and now that goes up along here, which will help me get into that area, whatever's in there, and get back. Oh, so that's how you get up to there. Yeah, I wanted to jump off the thing and grab that, but didn't quite go as I expected. Now, hey sir, look at me. Nice dive fish. You know, there's a bunch of stuff to explore under the surface of these pools. I did notice that. There is a lot, which I'm going to go now explore. Which, I mean, the first bit is that, and then you can go through here and under here. Any secrets down there? No. Okay, you go through here, which helps you get to that thingy. Yeah, this thingy. But I still need to unlock it. Well, I first need to unlock it, and I also need to have enough wicklings to actually turn the thing on. Otherwise, there's not really much point. Okay, I can get through here without hitting these things. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, wickling! I'll take it. Okay, is that everything here? Looks like it. Yeah, I think it is. Let's see. Did I miss any wicklings in here? I don't think I did. I did miss one over there, though, so I gotta go up here. Okay. Also, any over here I missed? Actually, no. I will ride the thing back up. At least now if I fall, I have a way back up. Oops. Here's the thing. Yes! Extra storage! It's what I've wanted. Now, what is this? Oh, this is one of these things. The gulls are a lot louder than we had imagined. Not even the majesty of the ocean is able to make us ignore them. We need some peace and quiet. Now a frigid, lonesome spot, far above the bustle of the island will do. Keep it up. We're close to the perfect spot. And your reward. Okay, well, I know that that's going to be in this snow area somewhere. So how many wicklings are we up to now? 7. 3 more. So I won't worry about unlocking the area below yet. Also, that's there. I completely forgot. Actually, let's go here, here, down there. There we go. I swear I didn't see it on the map. I'm gonna have to double check, make sure I didn't miss anything through here. I don't think that's a thing. I think we're all good. Actually, apart from up there. There's the thing I need to check out sometime. But for now, I'm going to continue to check out these areas. Oh, so those are just bouncing pad sort of things. Wait, I probably should have grabbed the extra platform. I mean, not platform, things that are left behind. I'm the beeline keeper. Welcome to the beeline colony. One day, each and every one of these bees will move out of the colony and onto the beeline. I don't know why, but the bees all love this smooth music. Puts them in a groovy mood. I keep it playing in the beeline at all times to guide the bees. I mean, it is a good song. Ooh, queen bee. Queen bee. So can I please get to the queen bee? Okay, I'm guessing I can't yet. I'm guessing I will at some point. Hopefully. Maybe. Okay. How... Actually, I know how to get in here. Not what I was planning to do, but... Okay, I'll go down here and then... Damn it. Go down here and switch. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, now, I want to go down here. Grab onto that thing. And then... I don't point in doing the one down there. Not that I can see. No! Damn it. Okay, well, yeah, I want to see. What is the point in grabbing onto this one? Oh, secret wiggling. So that's the point in grabbing onto it. I see. Noted. Well, now I just gotta get the other wiggling. We'll get... I was gonna say I will get on here, but I guess I'm not. Okay, down we go. Yeah, I swear I will get that thing. I will get that wiggling. If it is the last thing I do. Which it may be. Okay, down here. And how do you actually grab onto that thing? There's gotta be something you can do with this. Something you can do with it. I don't know. I don't know what. There's got to be a way you can grab that thing. There's just got to be. I don't know. Anyway. We now go over to here. God damn it. Well, I guess I might as well, I don't know. Something, I swear there was something I was gonna try and do. Oh yeah, I was gonna try and there we go. So now if I do this. Oops, meant to go this way. There we go. Okay, let's give it another try. Yeah, I'm pressing before I get to it. I need to press, like, I don't know, after I get to it. Because it goes in slow motion and I don't press again. That's the problem that I'm having. No! I'm really bad at using wicklings. I mean, not wicklings, other things. And now I need to go all the way back. I swear, look at that wickling though. And then what will that bring me to? That will bring me to 10, so I should be able to grab the one down here. And then I will be halfway. Okay, boink. Boink. No, we're gonna go this way. Otherwise, I'm just gonna ride that thingy again. Okay. Let's go. 2, 3. No, I'm here. There we go, I got it. Thank God. And now I am actually gonna ride this down because I need to get down there anyway. There we go. Now I just gotta ride it down. Down into the depths. Now we go up. And there we go. Now we boink. We do this thingy. And that's halfway. There we go. 4 down. 4 more to go. Now, there's the area that I haven't checked out yet. That I probably should. Because I know I missed a few wicklings there. Which isn't in that place. Up here. Now, is it up in the high area? Well, no, I do want to check out that thing, so... need to at least go into there. I think if I go into there, there's... not really... actually, there is a wickling up there. And there. Okay, I'm going to quickly go and investigate that. Then I'll come back down here. Also, there's a thing I can investigate here now. Damn it. How do you get over to that? Oh, I guess I'll figure it out. Also don't know how to get into there yet either. And there's also a scarab I haven't done here. And there's one up there as well. Wait, how do I get up there? Huh. Ooh, an egg. Whoa. Gib. Now, how do we get... Oh. Let's get in here and turn... I see. I see now. I'm learning. Oops, wrong area. So I need to start getting that into the other area. And I can get this one over here, because it goes past them. There we go. Wrong one. That's the late one. Oh, there we go. I'll take some of that stuff. Not gonna complain we're getting more fruit. Oh, I see. Okay, I'll do that after I've finished with this stuff. More stuff in here. Now, interrupt that one. Yep. Now spam. Spam things in here. Almost finished with the scarab. Scarab is almost done. There we go. The scarab's done. Now, quickly go back in. Okay. Also, hydrate. Let me quickly do that. There we go. Oh, things. So many things. Give things. Give stuff. Damn it. I just want the stuff. They're there. I just want the things. No! They disappeared. It's all gone. Why? Okay, and... Wrong one. Okay, I'm gonna quickly hydrate. I feel like it's much easier to drink from a glass than the water bottle. Who would have thought? Yeah, I just got to get the right throw thingy. Why did it... My thing closed Twitch, so if I don't read... Actually, no, I can still read it on my thing, but why did it close? Also, I missed the thing. There we go. I gotta go up here? I think I do. I don't know. Anyway, I'll grab all this stuff. And that brings us into here. We can't get slugs down there. At least there's nowhere close to get slugs. There's also a big area up there that I don't know how to get to. Oh, maybe you have to go through the bee? It might be the bee. You have to somehow get to the bee to unlock that. Anyway, this can just be pushed out of the way. Now, I think that way I have been before. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, if we go up here, and then... Try it again. Up here, and then... And then up here. There we go. Got it. Now, let me quickly open my thing again. Yeah, I'm not sure why it went out of it, but it did. So it's good now. Okay, yeah, so now we can head back up. Wait, is that a thing for slugs? I think that may be a thing for slugs. Let me quickly see up here. Up here is a thing for slugs. Wait, no, let me get out of there. Yes, get out of the way. And now we go across here. It doesn't fit. Damn it! No! I wanted to explode this. Huh. I don't know how I'm going to. I don't know if I can. But I feel like I need to do that for something. I just don't know what yet. Oh, so that takes me down to there. I'm gonna quickly push through here, because that gets me back to this place. Huh, good to know. Any maybe hidden movelings in here? I don't know, but there's a thing down there with the water, which I couldn't go into water when I was here, so I guess I might as well go check that out. Yeah, going in the right direction. Down here. Cross. How do I get out of here? That's the way I get out of here. Yes. Never mind. Don't know how you get down there. But I do need to get down to that area. Which fastest way would be up and around. So I gotta head up. I guess I can also see if I see any scarabs. Okay, now we go. Explode everything. Okay. All I want to do, get out of here. I didn't mean to. No. Damn it. And explosion! Damn it, I'm losing my fruits. I didn't want to lose my fruits. Why is it so hard to get out of these places? Honestly, I can get into them. Getting out is just a completely different story. Okay, there we go. Now I want to get out of here, please. Thank you, game. Okay. Also, hey, sir. It's just him again. Okay. Yeah, I want to go over here and down. And now I remember where I am. But I can't actually get down there from here. Actually, no, I can't. I just gotta use this. Damn it. I saw it. It was there. Can I get into that? Do something in that area now? I need to check. Okay. Go across here now. And can I do anything in here now? Still no. There we go. Weeviloo! Let's go! Now. Where did I miss a thing? Down there. Okay. Which I do got to dive down here. And pretty sure I go down here. And then we can ride this. Which doesn't take me the way I want to go. Actually, no, it does. Yeah. Now I can go across to here. And apparently around here should be the thing. Ah, that was easy. So I didn't miss anything in these little areas. No. Okay. Wait, there is one game. Stop dragging. Or controller. Okay. Yeah, I gotta go to the left now. And I guess we can think about using the thingy. Okay, don't want to go down. Yeah. I want to go down there. So, boom. How did I miss that? Boom. There we go. Where does that take me? Just into that thing and then there. Right, I had to go through there to do one of the things anyway. Now I can get up here. Grab extra things and a Weevilin. Aha! And that is everything down in this area. Because I think that one's been lit, hasn't it? If I go over here, no, when they're lit, when they're flashing like that means they're not lit. How many things do I have? I have 4 Weevilins, so I don't have enough anyway. I guess we'll get out of here. The way out is... we can get out that way. Guess might as well... actually, no. That up? No, that's down. Okay, doing that just does that. Noted. That means I gotta do this one. There we go. And I guess I'll probably start... well, I might actually head back to the very start. Yeah, I might do that. Because I know there are a few areas at the start that, get my brain, you can remember. There's a few areas at the start that I didn't, do, so I might go investigate some stuff there. Because there's got to be some stuff in the water. I know there's got to be at least something. Okay, going down here is the right way. Yeah, we jump off here. And now I know exactly where we are. We're at that thing. Okay, they just say where to go. Thanks for getting rid of them. And there's someone else's problem now. Yeah. They definitely are. Okay, that's all good. Save point for me. Oh yeah, I'll have to investigate with these at some point, because I followed this around, but I didn't get off at some of the stops. Especially like around there. Anyway. Okay, no, this area does take me back to the start. Wasn't sure. Oh yeah, the thing that came down here. Where's it gone? Where's Buddy or Pal gone? Where is he? I mean, we did give them the poisonous fruit. Which, I mean, probably wasn't the greatest thing to do to him, but... I mean, I can play through the game real quick again, just to get to him and try and get a different thing from him, or a different reaction. See what the using the other thing did. You know what? I'll take this. Oh, hey sir. I'll talk to you in a minute. I just have a few things to do. By things, I mean trying to steal the fruit out of this thingy here. I mean not steal, borrow. Borrow. I'm just cleaning up the place, that's all. You don't want crystallized fruit all over the place. Damn it. I also really like the music down here. It's quite good. There we go. See? It's easy to grab. There we go. Now we can go talk to him. Hey, sir. Ugh, my stomach aches. Did you give me a bad mushroom? Ain't no way I'm letting you get through, you little wretch. This is my cave. Get lost. Is that the delicious scent of a juicy cave mushroom? Oh, I am a slave to its flavor. Fine, I'll forgive you. Just hand it over. Thank you, sir. So I wonder what would happen if I didn't give him the poisonous one in the first place. Would he just maybe let me through here without any problem? And I wouldn't have had to give him the thing? I don't know. Either way, I got another bag upgrade. So I can carry 400 fruit now. A lot of fruit. Oh, so how do I get up here? Oh, that's if I backtrack. Okay, well I'm going to backtrack anyway. Okay, no going down there. Yeah, I need to backtrack anyway, so not too big of a deal. I still need to work on finding more of the things to make my my ball look a bit better. 'Cause I haven't really found too many of them. There's still a lot to find in the game though. So it's not like I'm in a hurry or anything. Ooh. Well, I can afford 80. Ooh, okay, let me quickly get over to the thing. There's something I wanted to do there real quick. Oops. No, please. God damn it. Actually, I can just do that, yeah. Completely forgot that I can just break it with the thing. And there's no secrets there. Well, I mean, I wasn't really expecting there to be. Okay, now I should be able to get over there in time. There we go. Now, try that. Boink, boink. There we go. What do we got on here? Things and a Waverly. Let's go. Okay, I think that's most down here explored. Unless there's a secret little area there, but I don't think there is. Okay, let's head back up. That was a good detour. I got a lot of fruit. I got an achievement. I got a Weaverling. I got extra storage. It was pretty good. Now, anything I missed here? Don't think so. Yes, think so. I missed a mailbox. How dare I? How dare I miss a mailbox? How does one get to this mailbox is a question that I now need to figure out. I also missed this thing. I don't know if you get an achievement for having all of them spinning. I'm guessing maybe you do. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, hello. I see you found some mushrooms. What a treat. I did indeed find some mushrooms. Okay, so it's just right down here. Let me get a little bit more speed. There we go. There we go. Put some of them in. I think I'm at least halfway with the letterboxes as well. I still need to drop off some of the things though. That I do need to do. Where is this? Wait. I just remembered a thing. Oh, that was the way out. Yeah, I just remembered a thing. Also, there's a wheel in here. But as I was saying, I can probably go do the thing again. The juicer thing. Wherever that is. I also need to explore that area. Which to do that, I need to go up. No. Down there. How do I get down to there? I think I know. I need to jump up on the thing over here. Like this. And then get dropped here. And then I can jump down. Oh, get dropped here. I mean, same thing. There we go. And I should be able to go over this way now. Huh. Oh, I gotta get dropped off at that. No, that would send me down into there, wouldn't it? No, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know. I think I need to go ride the bee thing again. But anyway, as I wanted to back before you sidetracked, I do want to get to the beach where we first started, so I can investigate the beach a little bit. There's got to be secrets there. You can't tell me there's not. I'll quickly grab these. There we go. Put the mail in the mailbox. There we go. Ooh. I don't have the parcel, do I? Let's move to this tree. They used to live here, left a wickling behind. I have no use for it myself, so you can have it. Oh, it's a wickling. I'll take it. Yeah, I still gotta figure out where to leave. Or where I need to take those packages. I still have 2 packages. Now, what do we got here? Wickling. I knew there was gonna be something. See, I knew it. I know things from me, game. Now, question is it like the other area where if I go deep, deep down, there's something? Deep, deep down to the depths. I think no. I think not. There is the island where I do need to do that. And hey there, dung beetle. You don't usually get many visitors out here on the reef. I reckon there'd be more than one unfortunate soul gonna aground and lost his treasure in these waters. Probably still down there. I think I can find treasure. What's it? Ooh, whittling. Let's go. Oh, was that maybe the treasure that I found that was in the thing? Maybe the thing in there was the treasure. I think it may have been. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I'm gonna say it was. But we're up to another 10 wicklings. Okay. If you have any soul things we come along, or any of those lanterns, we can light them up. Yeah, we've already talked. Actually, what's that thingy down there? I don't know what that blue thing is. So maybe it shows us what package they want, or what package is theirs. But I am going to quickly head back up. I should probably head back to the village area and actually get the package thing. Oops. Actually, I should go back down. I do want to go back down here. I want to ride the thingy up. Be much faster. And then up here. No, over here. Actually. This one will get me across. Yeah. Oh. There we go. Oh. Alright, I've already found that. How am I gonna do that thingy? I think I need to go up there and jump, or get up here and then go into this little area and do something there. I think. I could use that. Maybe I have to get hit there. Oh, found it. There we go. That was easier than I expected. Yeah, I don't know what that thing... Oh, it might shoot you up to there. I don't know. Anyway. Well, I will unlock this one. And also unlock this one. Also use this thing, or deliver them. Make sure there's no secret there. All good. Make sure there's no secret down here. I think we're all good as well. Okay. Hello, person. I'm keeping it basic. The constant pulse of the village just makes my head spin. Those jokers up there have really lost track of what's important. It's unnatural. Well, look who I'm talking to. You're pushing that ball around like some fashion slave when you should be rolling dung like your ancestors. I can't even look at you. Okay, fine. Okay, I think what I want to do is... There we go. Ha! Yes! Oh, we got one of the sparkly balls. Or one of the bauble things. I think that's a bauble thing. I wasn't really looking at what it said it was. I'm just assuming it looks like it's the circle and looks like a bauble, so... Oh, I got it wrong. There we go, okay. Go up here. And use that. And now, we're at White Cliff Point. Which, this is a new area that I haven't been in yet. Okay, we can quickly check that out. Okay, nothing there. Going. Quickly grab them. Okay, that jumps us up. Okay, now I don't want to check that area yet. Or do I? No, not yet. I have been in that area before. This whole area I haven't. Which, that will be a new area for me. Which really, it's right under the thing. Huh. Oh, also I need to ride the bee thing to get over to that area. Okay, I did. There's an area over there to the left there. So that's why I didn't think this would have bounced me all the way up. If that bounced me all the way up, where does this bounce me to? Up. What's the point in unlocking that one? I know you probably need it to get... I don't know. I will figure it out. Yep, we're back to this dude. Now this time, I'm gonna go here. There we go. Now we push this down here. And now I do this for what reason? I don't know. But I'm taking... Maybe for the dude? I don't know. Yeah, I gotta... There we go. And then we push this across. And it'll bounce up. There we go. We follow it. Where are we taking this to? Not over there. I think we're taking it to him. Aha, we are. I'm gonna pretend I knew I was doing that. What is this? An intact egg? Knowing at least one of the little ones got away is like sun on my heart would. You have my ancient gratitude for returning it. I'll use all my remaining energy to nurture this into a life. Well, thank you, sir. I'm glad you're gonna do good with it. Okay, so I think I need to jump down to... I was gonna just jump down. And from there, I should be able to catch a ride on one of them. Should be one of the ones over here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, right here. Up here. Now here. Oh, 80. And this, then we ride this, which shoots me to here. And then I can go down here. Spin this fan. Spin this fan. Spin this one. Spin this fan. Okay, now I think what I gotta do to spin this one is just... Nope, not quite. not 100% sure yet. I'll go up here at least. And go over this side and see what I get over this side. Nothing. Guessing that's why I want to open this up. But how do we get this one? This I don't know. Oh, I guess I'll head back and it didn't even send me properly. Okay. Yeah, I need to figure out how to do that thing if I want to go over there. How can I do that? These other ones aren't too hard. Yet I'm having trouble with that one. Hey X-Wing, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Wait, is the stream lagging? I totally did it on purpose. That definitely wasn't my controller messing me up. Is the stream lagging? Because I just... No! Not hard either, see? Yeah. All I needed was for it to have me send me right. I just didn't mean to talk to you. Anyway, back up. We need to get back over there. Up here. No, no, please. And up. There we go. Another moment. Okay. It's just because I looked over at my phone, because I have it to the side, and it looked like it was lagging, so I wasn't sure. At least it looked like it was skipping frames. But anyways, now we ride this. Why did I ride that the wrong way? Wait. Yeah, it's here that I have to get off. This is my stop. Up here, cross, down, and we ride this. And go across here, and now we can talk to you. Also, I've gotten 2 achievements that were quite, I guess you'd say hidden, but not hidden. I went back into the cave, or down into the water area where the weird lizard thing was at the very start. And it also gave the trunk to the right, an egg. Anyway. Can I do something with you? Do I want to jump on your head? Wake up! Wake up, sir! Please. There we go. No, I will land on your head. I will land on your head! Okay, let's try landing on his head again. Go up here, I'm not, because I mean, I'm assuming there's something to do here. There's a thing with a head. There we go, we landed on the head. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, sir. Sir, wake up. What is the point in me coming over here? What do I gotta do? Not sure yet. I'll be back, sir. I will be back when I know a bit more of what I gotta do. Wait, also that hasn't been shooting me properly. Please shoot me. There we go. You gonna understand someday? Okay, at least I'll understand someday. Why did I do that? Yeah, so I'm guessing I'll come back and then I'll finally understand. I'll be like, oh my god, how did I not notice? But for now, I don't know. Is this where I have to deliver one of the packages? Maybe? What does it say? Okay, controller stop. Inventor at work, do not disturb. Inventor? Hey? Can't you read the sign? I don't want to be disturbed. Go away. I'm guessing they have a package. And maybe that's why I want to come here. Oh, or I could get in this way. That also works. Hey, am I disturbing you? Am I disturbing you? Is this disturbing you? It's disturbing. You say you didn't want to be disturbed. Is this disturbing? He doesn't seem too phased. Anyway, down we go. Okay, now can't see any other parts where I might want to get off. Now, is this the juicer area? I think this here is the juicer. I want to go investigate the juicer. We'll go back over that way. I feel like I can probably do the juicing again. Okay, leave me here. Now I go... Oh, I can also do some stuff over here. Probably also go back to the village sometime. Which, actually, it's right here. So I guess while I'm here, I might as well grab the package. Or one of the packages. And then if I use it, I use it. Or if I find where it goes, I find where it goes. If I don't, I don't. But I probably have more chance of figuring out where it goes when I have it on me. Oh! I can grab this thing now. I mean, the mail always gets through, and the wind always be at the back at the Grand Postmaster. Take the Postmaster's badge? Yes. Walk, hands off that badge. Belongs to the Grand Postmaster. You still have a lot of duties to complete before you may claim. Okay, fine. Fine. I'll take this one then. You know where these go? Welcome back, Postmaster. The overdue packages are on the table. Do I know? Does it need to go down here? So it does need to go over there. Huh. Okay, well, while I'm at it, I will give you the new thing. Let's see if we can do something about that ball, shall we? That scent is unmistakable. A sweet bauble, is it not? Ladybug, yeah, ladybug ball. It's homely, but not very fashionable. Don't forget to bring me any sprinkle baubles you come across. So the pink one makes it a bee, and mix it with the green, and then that we have a dung ball. You know, I actually kind of like having the dung ball. What happens if I just do the pink one? Oh, it's the rainbow one. Mushroom ball. I don't want I want the dung ball. Ah, feels better. Oh, maybe we can go. Maybe now go talk to that person that was disgraced because they didn't have a dung ball. I might probably go talk to them, see if I don't know, something's changed now that I have a dung ball. Which that person was somewhere over here. I can't remember exactly where. This area. Or that area, sorry. That's not very descriptive, but... area right down here. So... Ooh, also, while I'm at it, I guess I might as well quickly... Oh, never mind. I thought it was gonna take me to there. Not. You know what? I'll take some of this. Now that sends me there. Yes, we're back to the juicer. I told you, only Skullgangers are natural juicers. Anyway, I gave you a chance, Scrub. Now scram. I feel like I should be invited into the gang. I saved your people, sir. Fine. I didn't want to be a part of the Skullgangers anyway. Okay, I guess I'm actually gonna go down now. And not try and grab some of the fruit. So we go down here. Damn it. Where does that take me? Oh, that just takes me down back to the bottom. Also, there's a scarab there that I haven't thinged. I need to activate the scarab. I need to. It has to be done. Because I don't think I've done it yet. At least it's not activated at the moment. So I don't know if it's just that I'd never somehow never activated it or what, but either way, the scarab needs to be turned on. Which I find it hard to believe that I never activated the scarab with the amount of times I accidentally went over this way. But if I can activate it now, that'll be good. Okay, only gotta do it one more time. And there we go. Activated. No, please, I just want to grab the pineapple. Please. Give the pineapple. Okay, I got the pineapple. Now I'm out of here. And here. There we go. Okay. I wanted actually. How do you get over to there? I didn't want to go through that area. I wanted to go up here. There's a scarab there. Ow! 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 No, I gotta activate that one as well now. I can't let it get away. Oops, wrong thing. There we go. Gotta do that a few more times. Ow. Damn it. I keep hitting this thing. I mean, I don't like it. God damn it. The only way I can get over here is if I do that thing. Actually, can I just... Okay, that works. Okay. And... Oh, got the thing. Please give me the thing. Let me just grab some of it. Thank you. Thank you, game. There we go. And the scarab's activated now. Okay. Now I'm happy to leave. And... Okay, I guess I'll just go up here and then jump out here. Wait. Wait. I could have used the thing. Go. And then... Not quite what I was going for. But I see I can now... Not quite. There we go. Haha. Yes. I'm just better! I'm honestly surprised that he was even able to do it. I'm gonna be honest. Anyway, back down here. What was that spot? I don't think I've been there. I must get in there. Like, I can't not get in there. Have to. Surely. Oh, I did something. What is in there? Actually, maybe if I use this thing, I can get in there. Maybe I need to use the thing down here. Never mind. I thought it was gonna send me off the edge, and I'm gonna have to climb all the way back up. But I don't. It's all good. Means I have to grab this one again. Damn it. Can you just decide that you don't want the things to shoot you? Why? Not quite. Up again. Jump. Bah. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll come back to it. Because I probably will have to, so... Now, Right, we need... I want to deliver that, package. So, for that, we... have got to go down here. Okay. Also, how do I get into this area? Right here, where there's shadow. Unless you just... Unless there's nothing down there, but I feel like... I don't know. Would they have shadow if there's nothing there? That, I don't know. Why am I coming up here? Actually, no, this is good. It'll get me to where I want to go faster. Okay, this way, up that way. Again, still the best way of getting around in a game. Now, where was it? Oh, it was back here. Okay. Back one more. Okay, this is my stop. No! Never mind, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Okay, sir, I'm here with a package. Can't you read the sign? I don't want to be disturbed. Go away. Okay, fine. I will leave you alone. But I will deliver the package. Because I am a post bug. And I will not be stopped from delivering my packages. So there you go, sir. Jeez, you want to be left alone and it was a cake. He couldn't even accept a cake. Anyway, let's head back. And deliver the last one. Oops, I went the wrong way, didn't I? Yeah. Time to ride it back. Oh yeah, I was meant to go talk... I forgot, I meant to go talk to the dude... about me not having the dung... thing. I'll have to do that soon. Or do that in a minute. What's the time? 6:32 already? It's already 6:32. I guess I can check what percentage I'm at, because the game let me know what my percentage was. Now where's that one? Down. Oh! So that'll probably let me go into this area. Oop. Yeah, into this area. So I definitely want to do that one. I just didn't notice I didn't have a Weevilling there and there. I didn't notice I missed them. Well, actually, well, I know that one. I don't know how to get to it, but that one I don't. And also there's a locked thing there, so that will probably help me get into it. Anyway, I do want to try and get to that dung area. So that is... well, the area, yeah, so that's in there. So if I ride this, I just gotta go back a few stops. Next, I need to go in here. I need to go back up here. Oops, didn't mean to go to you either. Back over this way, okay. There we go, across. And go up here. I don't think I had to go up here. I didn't. But I went up there. So, okay, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I was trying to make a point for something. Okay, back. Okay. Yeah, right down there is where I want to be. So I think I want to drop off here. You know what? Good enough. Yeah, there we go. Okay. We go into here. Bounce up. Now, will you talk? Be okay with me now? Because I have a dung ball. I'm keeping it basic. Blah, 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 blah. So natural. Whoa! Dung ball. I love it. It's really sticking it to those sheeple up in the village. Here, buddy. Have some fruit for keeping it natural. Yes! I knew it! Okay, now I'm happy to leave. I guess... might as well... go down there, get out. Yeah, I guess I'll just head over and deliver the thing to the bees. Because, pretty sure it will take me or unlock a new area. So, why not? I just need to find a use for these 401 things. I'm sure I'll find a use for them. There we go. Now we ride this one. This is almost like a roller coaster at this point. Also, I like how it has to load in, load in the areas it's already been in. Okay, here we are. Now we ride the other one. Which, okay, it is over here. So boing. Okay, here we are. This is my stop, and I have a delivery for you. Package For Queen Bee, huh? Queen Bee is the ruler of the hive. I doubt the drones will let you pass. Only bees are allowed near the Queen Bee. Luckily, the drones aren't very smart. I let you borrow my shirt, but I don't think it's the right... I think I know what I'm gonna do. I think I have a certain ball that looks like a bee. I think I may be able to put that on and then go deliver the thing, which means we have to go all the way back. Okay, time to change it from dung to a bee. Okay, down here. Now we gotta wash it off. Which, after we've done this, I'm gonna turn it back to the dung, because the dung actually looked good. So I think it was that one and this one. Yeah, that's a bee. I'm a bee. Buzz, buzz. See, they won't even question me. If I say buzz, buzz, they'll think I'm a bee. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Yeah, after this, I'm gonna turn it back to the dung ball, because I like the dung ball. But I do like how they incorporate, I guess, being able to change how your dung ball looks with puzzles. And I guess rewards with the other thingy. Now, I should be able to go straight through, and yeah, here you go. Oh, you've got a package for me. It appears this package is several years late. When I was a young bee, it might have interested me, but now, I just don't need it anymore. You may keep it for all I care. You wanted to hold more fruit? I mean, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain. You look a bit odd. Are you from a remote colony? You're welcome to stay as long as you want. Just don't disturb the larvae. Well, thank you. But that's not how you get into this area. It looks like there's a little gap, actually, right up here to get through. But how do you get in there from this side? You can't. There's also a little area down there. Is it saying I've been in here before? Is it because I've gone through this stuff and it's unlocked that with it? I don't know. It also says there's a thingy down here. So... I'm gonna go and grab it. I just need to go up here. There. Down here. Okay, there we go. I think I'm actually getting close-ish. Getting all the wave rings as well. When I say close-ish, I'm still quite far off. But I'm not miles off. I'm at least halfway. There we go. Okay. Now I need to get up here. So... Oh, so yeah, I need to figure out how to get to there. Right, because... yeah, the thing doesn't fit through here. When it has the explosive thing on it, it doesn't fit through there, which is a problem. We do that. And then we go down here. It doesn't fit. Unless you need to just somehow go with actual speed. No, there's no way you can grab that thing and then go around fast enough. Surely you can't. I don't know. Anyway, there's all those deliveries done. Now, it can, depends on where the slug is, but probably you find another slug spawn. Yeah. Now I gotta get back up there is also a thing. Which... oh no, it's not that hard, never mind. Gotta do that. I mean, I do know an easier one than that one. It spawns right there. There we go. I guess I'll have to do that. And go through here. I also don't know where I'm going. So that probably isn't going to help. Like that, I went the wrong way. Yeah, even if I had enough speed, I don't know if I would have been able to do that. This. Go through here. And then do... Or even if I did this properly on the first try. And did that. As I was... Did it on the first... Did it on the first try and did that. That. I didn't even do that part fast. I don't know if I could have gotten there, if I can get there in time. I mean, I'm assuming that that's how you have to do it. It's gonna be quite hard. Here you don't have to do anything on first try to get this done. Huh. That's making me think you don't have to do this. If you use another slug spawner. So I'm just using the wrong slug spawner is what you're saying. Yeah, because there's no way that's fast. I can do that fast enough. Oh, there is a slug spawner down there, actually. Which actually reminds me, can we use this that has an explosion to get up to the chest? And also to get over to that thingy as well. Oh, right, yeah. I'm stuck. So I got it. I just did it wrong. I could have done it from as I went through there. Okay, let me try that again. How did I do that? Okay, make sure I get enough speed this time. There we go. Okay, now we grab it. There we go. Boom. Boom. Over here, and there we go. Now we can grab the Weaverling. How many Weaverlings is that now? 12, haha! I can unlock another thingy. Oops. Whoop. And go. And over here. Now, question is, can I use this for the chest down there? That is the question. Alright. Remote. Stop. Please control that. I mean, not... Stop. This is where the drag is going to be quite annoying. And also just me not doing it right. But this is definitely what I gotta do, I think. So we're gonna go boom. Grab that. Now I'm wondering if I want to grab those fruits at the moment, because I don't think I do. And there we go. No! Damn it. But yeah, I don't think I want to grab the things over here yet. Unless that's a way in. Those also could be a way in. I might investigate them. Probably help because you have controller problems. You can manually... Can you? That would probably be quite helpful. Okay, that wasn't quite right. You press A. I think I pressed A once and it exploded. I'm guessing it's A. Let me test. It is A. Okay. That will be Good to know. Okay, so we go over here. I guess it also helps so I don't have to wait as much. There we go. No, I did it again. I got in but rolled out. Maybe it's because I'm riding the roof too much with the angle. I'm gonna need to angle it more in there, if that makes any sense. Even this might be too much. Yes, it is. So I gotta angle it more in rather than up. Damn it. Now we get back in. Go. I feel bad for these slugs. What if they didn't want to grow up and explode? Too low. A little bit higher. Cross. And then we go back. You know, I really hope I get something good from this chest. Even if it's just more storage, I would take more storage. More storage would be great to have. Damn, I need to angle up more again. Really annoying when you can't get it to the right angle sometimes. I'm gonna have to do it like stop. Keep rolling out. Please, game. Just give it to me. I feel like I just keep making the same mistake over and over. That one I do blame my controller for. I swear I had it lined up. I wonder, how long is this one gonna take me? I think it's gonna take me a little while. I mean, I don't really mind. It's just I'd rather get it done a bit faster. There we go. Ooh, it's one of the orcs. You got a bauble packed full of gold. I'll take gold. Now, I do want to check if this will take me... As I was saying, now I do want to check if exploding this near the edge there will take me to the thingy. So, I come over to here and get it to the right point. Not quite what I was going for. Give me a second. There we go. Give me one quick second. Okay, I fixed it. We're all good. Just hold left or right and it fixes. Okay. I think coming into here fixed it. I mean, I exploded the things. Not quite my plan. But... No, that's just a roof. Okay, so it doesn't explode. Open up the area. Yeah, I think I grabbed everything from the roof now. I think that's all of the things here. It seems like it. Actually, there's the one in there. And one up there, but that's in the other thingy. So let's go get the one that's in there. So yeah, up here. And up here. And I think going to the hideout will probably be the best way. Or the fastest way. So, if I just ride this... Oh yeah, I still need to figure out that thing. How to blow up that slug. Or just get to the slug in general. If you can. I don't know if you can. Yeah, so I gotta go through the... Wait. How did I not grab this before? I guess because I came here when I didn't have the dive fish, but... I now have the dive fish. So now I can grab this. Ooh, I'll take that. Oh, the door opens now. I guess it makes sense. I'd hope the door would open. Wait, is it down here? Sneaky way in? Yeah, it is. Okay. I don't know why I tried. Why I did. Ooh. Wait. Did I grab stuff down? All the stuff? Yeah, I did. I remember now. It's just that stuff's reloaded in. Okay. So we'll go down here. Go to the left. And through here. And... I guess I might as well go down this thing. Now that one I think I've turned on. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, just go down. Okay, I was gonna say how hard can it be to be able to hit the orange one, but apparently it's quite hard. Okay, yes. I'm over this way. And now... I did the wrong thing. Okay, also the wrong thing. Again, the wrong thing. And... Damn it. No. No! Ooh, that one. I'm not gonna grab it. We'll probably only be grabbing time, but... Never mind, I got it. And I got all the things for it too. There we go. Now I gotta remember how to... Right, I never figured out how to actually damage it. Unless I need to do that and then get lucky and... There you go. That's all you gotta do. And it wasn't so much luck. Well, I guess it was sort of luck, but you have to actually get in there, I guess. Anyway, I would like to get out. Which I feel like sometimes I have more trouble getting out than I do in. Okay, and... There we go. Okay, we're out. Now we can go through here. But I do want to quickly see about maybe getting, or how maybe get up there. Oh, awesome. Did I ever go down here? I don't think I did. Oh no, I did. I remember. Yeah, I did. Wait. That area I don't remember though. And how would using the thing underwater there work? I'm gonna quickly investigate. Aha, that's how you get in this area. So that gets you out. Noted. You can also go down. Hey, look up. Oh, this is where the glow moths were. So I have been here. The game just said I haven't. Which is why I was trying to get in here. Completely forgot it was the glow moth area. Wait, no, the area I'm trying to get in is next to the glow moth area. Never mind. Maybe I can find a way in from here. Let me see if I can. All uncovered on the map, you were already, yeah. I was just the dumb. And didn't notice the area was next to it. What does it say? Tadpole, oh, spawning pool. Oh yeah, I have that many tadpoles I can... Do I maybe want to put more tadpoles in there? Okay, let me find all the tadpoles in this place. I think this is the only area I found tadpoles. Well, let me quickly see if I can find all of them. Or find some more at least. Because ever since I've been in here, I haven't found any more tadpoles. So I think the tadpoles only spawn in this area. Oh yeah, right, I've already been in here. Not all. No! You're telling me there's tadpoles hidden in... There's one lot. But you're telling me there's like one tadpole or one lot of tadpoles or something that's not in this place. Or maybe even two, because I think I only had 7. Or maybe I can't remember how many I had. I think it was around 7. Don't tell me they do like that and hide one in a different place. Never mind. I found them all. Or at least all the ones that I need. Thank you for bringing little ones. I mean, you had not all. Here, gift from me to you. You wouldn't happen to be able to help me into the area behind you, would you? Beware the God Slayer, disguised amongst you. Myrtle can feel it. Beware. Okay, same thing. Okay, there might just no. I was saying there might just not be anything in here, but no. There's a thing there, which means I can get into an area back there. What was that? I got a notification. Wait, no, that wouldn't have been a notification. I swear something vibrated. I don't know. So it wouldn't have been my phone, because I never have my, notifications on. But anyway, still need to figure out how to get that one up there. Wait, I do want to explore a little bit of the high place now. In the snowy area. Actually, no, I don't want that thing. There we go. Now we go over here. Which, I still need to figure out what to spend some of my fruit on. Which, actually, no, probably once I go up there, I will find some things to spend my fruit on. Actually, wasn't there an area near the start? Where there was like an 80? That I could grab? No, I already spent it, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I have. I don't see any areas where I can unlock. Yeah, I guess the new few things are catch up with that, and then that thing, and then there's also the spot for the mushroom, because it wants me to take it to one of the peaks in the mountains. So I'll have to go do that. Also, didn't notice. There we go. Please, that's the button for that one. Okay, so I guess let's go to the peaks. Which, how am I getting to the peaks? I gotta take the green one, don't I? It goes along here. And then yeah, I get off at that one. Yeah. I take the B thing along the green one. Do that one. And we get up here. And we get off here. Yeah, this is where we get off. Okay. This is my stop. Well, I probably also should have checked out what my thing looks like. What the new ball looked like. That we could have gotten. Well, next time we go back there. Oh my god, it's grown. The egg has hatched, and from it emerged Chop. The birth of the tiny critter has set me a balloon. Once more, please, Beetle, accept this as a token of my gratitude. Thank you! Thank you, sir! Also another bauble. Yes! Thank you, sir! Much appreciated. How do I get up from here? I can't remember. How did I get up here before? I feel like I'm being dumb. I swear I went up this way last time. Oh. I was. Oops. That makes sense why I couldn't find out how to get up. Because I already explored that area, but I didn't think about how I did before. Anyways. So, I think I've explored a decent... Actually, no. Now I can explore more of it. But I'm not going to because I'll waste collecting fruit. So I'll hold off on that a bit. We can also ignite the thingy up here. I guess I'll make my way up. And up we go! Wahoo! Yeah, might as well turn that thingy on. Damn it. Maybe I do have to go to that other one. Yeah, going to that one there and then sending myself over would probably be a good idea. probably be better than trying to do the thing. And trying to do whatever I was trying to do. No! Didn't mean to set myself all the way over here. That wasn't quite the plan. God. This is the fastest way up each time as well. Okay, I'll give it one more try. Nope. Too far. Okie dokie. Let's just move on for a bit then. Because how many things of them do I have? I have 13. So I'll just ignite another one and come back to that one later. I think that's a great way to deal with it. You know, just avoid the problems that I have. And deal with them at a later date. You know, I feel like that's just the best way to deal with everything. Great advice from me. But anyways, now we can go and meet with the thingies. Yeah, did I talk to you? Yeah, I did, okay. Yeah, we should be able to meet up with the things now and they'll be like, yep, you're good to go. The others are ahead, up ahead. First is getting to base camp. It's gonna be rough from here on. I think we can get to base camp, and then once we get to base camp, I can get the thing from the dude. Okay, how are you guys going? Nice to see you decided to join us, Yoku. This is the first time I've seen someone climbing with a suitling. I guess Tunguska really did hook you up. Well, we're just gonna hoist up some more supplies, but we'll be right along. We've got to push the base camp as soon as possible, so go on ahead. Okay, I'll scout out ahead, and this thing also here is adorable. Ooh. I don't know why I did a who. Oops. That was close. There we go. No! There we go. Okay, got the ceiling. Okay. Into an area where I need to activate that thingy. Oh, I didn't notice I was there. Ow, ow. Damn it. Okay. Shoot it. And whoop. Nah. Okay. We got the scarab somewhat activated. Oops. There we go. Hoop. And hoop. Hoop. Okay. That one. That way. That way. Not quite. Damn it. They won't let me break it. They won't let me get it the easy way. Okay. There we go. Oh, well, I have to do this anyway, so I have to get up there. see. But that had to be done anyway in the first place, so... Okay, and that opens that up. Noted. No, I don't want to do that yet. I want to activate the scarab. No, I will not go in yet. Ow, 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 ow. And there we go. Okay, now the scarab's activated. That's all I wanted to do. So now I'm happy to move on. There we go. I wonder how they're gonna go getting through here. Then again, I guess they don't have to move around with a bowl, do they? I really need someone to spend these. I just need to figure out what I can spend these things on. Which there's something I can spend them on over there. I'm gonna be honest, I'm surprised I even made that. And what happens if I... Oh, that was the whole reason, is so you could do that thing. Yeah. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Jump back down here. Damn it, so close. I see it. Not quite what I was trying to do. Go! Damn it! That's a thing, right? There's gotta be secrets there. There's gotta be. You really see it? I feel like I see something. I don't see it, but I see something. I think. Or I'm just making myself see things. I mean, it's either one of the two. I mean, I can go here. There's one of those things out there. So, I mean, there has to be something out there. Huh! There's a blue pusher. So close. You're gonna be... I don't even want to know what that expression is. Now you see it? I do see it. Now I see the thing that helps me see the thing. Now I just need to get over there. Turn around at peak? You mean like that? As in the bug turning around from the side? Okay, let's give that a try. Once I get out, once I can actually get to like this. There we go. Maybe. Here we go. There we go. Okay. We got it. And now we get more storage. I'm guessing that means I have all of the storage I can get. I think that's what that means. Because I think I was looking at the achievements. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. I can hold all of the money I can possibly ever want. Or wallets, yeah. Okay, so I guess there's not really two ways up. There is more over this way though. If I go up here. Oops. Okay, so what's over this way? What do we got? We have that. Stopping me from getting to the thingies. How am I gonna get around that? By doing that. I'm guessing that's not gonna stay like that. Maybe it will. Maybe I lied. There we go. And now we just do that again. Let's try that again. There we go. Now, oh, so this is probably in an area like here. Also, what's this? Find Boone. Okay, so that's one of the people we're looking for anyway. Okay, we can do two things. One, collect that. Two, I just went in the same spot. Two, the same spot again. I was gonna say, and also get up here. Till I eventually... Never mind. I think I gotta go out here and spin that thingy up there. Okay, that's a bit too powerful. No! No, damn it. Well, I guess that also gives me a chance to check out the left. Or to the left of this thing. If I can. Which I can. Okay, good. So lets me get up there. Unlock them, which will unlock that, which will unlock that thingy. Good to know. Which I guess I can just go the other way instead of that way, and then I don't have to try and fling myself up. So I think I'm just going to go this way, and I'm not going to worry about smashing that thing yet, because I don't want to waste fruit. Because I know I'm going to get full on fruit, and then I'm going to waste the fruit, and then I'm going to need the fruit. Or then I'll waste the fruit, so... I feel like I probably don't want to touch that. So I think I want to probably go back down here. I just want to quickly check over here. Ooh, Maybelline. Oops. Oh. Oh. Hello. Hello. Okay. Hey, Bug. I swiped this map from Spina's private stash. Made it all the way up here before I realized I don't know how to read it. Supposedly, it shows the location of every chest on Makuma's island. So what do you say? I'll part with the treasure map for the tiny summit. Yes. we can both be happy with this deal. Enjoy the treasure hunting, but thank you. Well, one, it helps me because I needed to spend money anyway. And it also helps me because why I wanted to find all the things anyway. Thank you. I was gonna say sir, miss, whatever gender the bug is. If it is a bug, I don't know what it is. It's a something. That's what matters, right? What is this? Why is it? Oh, so that's what's across there. I'm guessing I don't want to touch the fire or lava. Yeah, not good. Not good to touch, actually. Damn it, I thought I could maybe go off the edge and grab it, but can't. Because I thought maybe I can try and fling it the other way, but doesn't seem to want to do that. We'll just cross there for now. And we are at the base camp, where we now have fast travel. Aha! Busy bee. I'm guessing I've unlocked all the thingies now as well. Okay. We have been quite a busy bee today. Yeah, so now we have a faster way up. And that goes all the way back to there. Yep. Okay. So now we can go across here. Turn this on. Yes. And now we can head back down. Across here. There we go. Then I go up here. I swear I'll get this again eventually. There we go. Now we go up here. And let's do some stuff here. I love how I got the thing and then lost it instantly. Surely I broke. Okay, at least I broke that one. Also, scarabs. I need to turn all them on. There's one side of it done. Now I just got to turn the other side on. And damn it. There's a lot of fruit up here. I forget to press the thing every single time. Ow. Okay, I think what I gotta do is just do that to get across. There we go. And now... I forgot to press it again. You know, I'm gonna say it's strategic. That's what I'm gonna go with. That one I wasn't planning to even get in there properly, so... And hopefully this is the one! And the one! There we go! Okay. No! Give me all the fruit. Thank you. Okay, I got most of the fruit. Now I should actually focus on getting the blue. After we get in here. Yeah. There we go. Now just keep doing it. Okay. There's that one collected. Now he's got to grab the other one. Which... Oops. Okay, here we go. Bit late. I mean, early. There we go. Now it's opened. which now we can... Oh, there's a lot of fruit. Yeah, like I said, I swear, I can get in these things. Getting out of these things is the worst for me, honestly. How am I meant to get out? There we go. Which way am I swinging? That way. Okay, that was the right way. I'm so sorry. You should really expect it now, Bat, honestly. You should really... So what was the point in that? Yes. Dung. Dung. I'm going to assume the point in that was just for the... I don't know. There's... Maybe there was no point in it. I don't know. Either way, we did that. But, yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it here, because I have been going for... 3 and a bit hours. So, I am gonna quickly go over to here. We're gonna quickly save, actually, at this thingy. There we go. Now, I'm gonna quickly exit to main menu. We're gonna go continue. 67%. That's where we're at. What we're at. You know, in about 1 minute. Okay. You can't. I need to know now. I need to know what is going on with the bat poop. I'm now intrigued. If I have to wait a minute. I can wait a minute. I will sit here and wait. Oh. Is there a bauble? Or something? Spherical? No, not waiting. Playing. Oh, is it with those people? Just do what you do normally. If I was to do it, if I was playing like I was going to normally, I'd go and talk to these people. But I think I should probably finish it here. Yeah. 67%. I'd say that's pretty good, if I do say so myself. And I also know where all the treasures are now, because of the thing. So, I guess... next stream, which will probably be... Friday, I think. So, yeah, on Friday, I'll probably finish these people with exploring, which I'm guessing their exploring will go to the person I need to go to. So I'm guessing we'll talk to the person up the top. We will help what's his name get the last piece of the statue, because I think that's the last piece of the statue. We'll help the mushroom with the statue up there, or not? I'm sorry, not the mushroom with the statue. The mushroom get up there. And I don't know if there's one other thing we have to do. I think that's part of that. Just get to that point, which is where we basically were. Yes, that sounds like a decent plan. And yeah, I hope you did enjoy the stream, whether you're from start, halfway through, or just joined. If you did enjoy, please do think about following. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, morning, day, afternoon, or whatever time it is for you. And actually, let me check how many achievements I have now. Once it tells me. I've now done 18 of 31 achievements. So I'm at about 58%. Or, yeah, 58%. Which, I'm getting closer. Because, I mean, if I get all the baubles, I know how to get that one. The mushroom will hopefully complete next thing. Postmaster will hopefully get next thing. And that one. And a few others. But, yeah. Thank you for popping around, X-Wing and Pookie, if Pookie is still here. But, yeah. I hope to see you in... I was gonna say that, but then I feel like that's very abrupt. But, I guess... there's nothing I can do. I've already said everything. So, yeah. I hope you enjoy the stream, and I hope to see you in the next one. See ya.